Hello friends, today is 16 January 2017 and we are going to discuss the articles of The Hindu. Before starting the discussion, let's have a look at the article which we are going to discuss. The first article is regarding the capsizing of boat near Patna and why this accident took place, what are the other issues related to this and proper guidelines so that future accidents kind of this can be avoided in the future. This article is related to the Gujarat team. Gujarat team has won the Ranji Trophy and why the Gujarat team won and other issues related to this. So this article is not important for our UPSC's purpose, and main article is related to Julian Assange. Julian Assange, who is the de facto leader of the WikiLeaks. And so although this article is also not important for the UPSC's perspective, but still we would discuss some important points so that your general knowledge can be enhanced. This article is related to politics. You also know that the elections are going to be held in the 5 states. So politics related article is not important for our UPSC's purpose. Next article is very important. It is related to e-cigarettes and can be used. The question of e-cigarettes can come in the paper 3 also. So that's why we would discuss this article. Other 2 articles which we are going to discuss is one article is related to Economics Times. What was that article? I forgot. So next slide will come, then I will remember what was that article. Second is Mint article that was related to water issues. So let's start the discussion. What is the utility? Utility of first article is the question may come like that. Recent boat accident on Ganga river near Patna, in which number of people lost their lives, highlights the urgent need of efficient regulation of transport in waterways. You have to comment on this. So context, you all know that boat disaster took place near Patna in Ganga river on the occasion of Makar Skranti, and 24 people they have lost their lives, and now the number also has been increased. So this accident took place when the number of people were coming back after attending the kite festival, which is very sacred there, and it was also that the boat was you can say that overburdened and you can say that was carrying the people over its capacity, and also the safety norms were also not followed, and that's how there is a need. What action need to be taken? There is a need of constituting the judicial commission so that they can inquire the proper reasons why the accident took place and can also present the guidelines so that in the future this kind of accidents can be avoided. There must be the proper laws in the transport, in the regulation of waterways also, and efficient transport can take place in the waterways also, because the government focuses more on the road safety, but still this area now has been ignored so far. So there is a need to regulate this area also. And what is next? Next is way forward. Center must implement the existing laws, whatever the laws there have been. Center must implement those laws. And you also know that central government recently brought a bill to declare the further 106 national waterways, and but still government needs to focus more on the safety also. And a lot of things which are involved in the regulation of this transport on the waterways, they must be modernized, because still we are following the practices of the colonial era Inland Vessels Act according to this act. And also this is the responsibility of the state. They give the proper compensation insurance against the third party risk for the power boats, and this act is actually related to vehicles, motor vehicle related act, but this is also now applicable in this case also. And besides this, there must be the reservation of inland vessels craft. Those boats which carries the people, they must be registered, and actually the problem was also of inadequate supply, because that boat which was carrying the people, that boat was overburdened, and this was one of the reasons that's why the accident took place. So there is also need to ensure the proper boats so that they can carry the people from one place to other place. And also in the last they say that it is the state duty to provide the safe and adequate public transport. So state can't shy away from its duty. Next article is about the WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, first of all, you must be aware what is actually the WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is actually a journalist organization, and it is dedicated to the publishing confidentially and leaked information. What hackers generally what they do, they steal the information from there are a lot of documents in the US, you can say that they are classified documents and they must not come in front of the people. So WikiLeaks websites, they hack the government websites in the US or at other places also, and then they steal the important documents and they disclose those classified documents to the people, and that's how people get to know that what was actually happening behind the curtains. So who is Julian Assange? Julian Assange is actually de facto leader of the WikiLeaks. And you know what has happened with him? So for knowing this, Let's move to next slide. So this is little timeline. You need not to know about all these kind of facts because they are not important for our exams purpose. Actually, you just need to be familiar with this thing that Julian Assange was responsible for disclosing the important information which US didn't want to disclose in front of the people. And he, like I'm giving you the case, he presented a video in which it was shown that how the US was making the airstrikes and in which the innocent people were died, including the 2 journalists of Reuters. And after that, there was a lot of, you can say that, dissent against the US actions there. And it was just a simple case, and the other cases also in which the Julian Assange and WikiLeaks disclosed a lot of classified information of the US, and US was embarrassed by that information because a lot of things which US wanted to hide, it came in front of the people, in front of the other countries also. So now Western countries got irritated by this act of WikiLeaks and the Julian Assange. So what they do, Sweden, two nationals of Sweden, they Sweden slapped the rape charges against the Julian Assange, and now actually the Sweden, after that, Sweden demanded the Britain, because Julian Assange at that time was in the Britain. So Sweden asked the Britain that there is extradition treaty between the Sweden and the Britain. So they asked the Britain that hand over that culprit who is currently in your country. So what Julian Assange did, he went to the Ecuador embassy, and the Ecuador embassy gave asylum to the Julian Assange, and now it has been 4 years. He has been holed up in the Ecuador embassy in the UK, and he's not been able to come out, and he's there for 4 years. So look at this case. It is Ecuador embassy, and whenever he has to address the media, he comes here at the window and addresses the media, but he is not able to come out. He has not seen the light for 4 years. Light means not a literal word. Light means he has not been able to come out, because whenever he will come out, then the UK police will arrest him and will hand over him to the Sweden police, and after that the rape trial will take place against him, and he says that rape trial is not, he's innocent, and he's being framed up for disclosing the information which needed to be disclosed. So now what is important? So now there is charge that here's the same thing, he has been holed up there, which we have already discussed. So now there has been a charge against the Julian Assange that he played a role in interfering the US elections. How he played that role? There have been the allegations against the Putin that Putin ordered the hackers to steal the information from the officials of the Democratic Party, and after stealing the information, hackers or some, you can say that any party, they handed over that important information to the WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks, they disclosed that information to the world, and that's how the people got to know, US people got to know what was actually happening, as I earlier said, behind the curtains. And now the US media or certain people, they are accusing the Julian Assange of, you can say that, collaborating with the Mr. Putin to interfere in the US elections. Now they are presenting Mr. Julian Assange as a villain. Except from the US intelligence also showed that. But the article now, what this article says? Article says that the quotes or the excerpts from the US intelligence, which are clearly saying that Julian Assange, he actually played a role in all these kind of things. These kind of things are unverified. And WikiLeaks, they has disclosed or has declassified a lot of 10 millions of classified documents in the last 10 years, and they are all authenticated. There has not been a single instance in which the authenticity of those documents which have been disclosed by the WikiLeaks can be questioned. But now, and the things about the US intelligence agencies, how can you trust the US intelligence agencies? There have been various charges against them. They have manipulated the public opinion. They also interfered on the name of saving the world. On the name of saving the world, they have attacked they have interfered in the many Middle East countries. How can they believe you? So this was the case. Actually, article is in the favor of Julian Assange. Clearly, they have taken the stand. So next is, there have been the charges of interference in the democratic process of other countries. You know what? In the last many years, US has interfered in the elections of many countries. Now this time, needle is towards them. There is the first time that anyone has interfered in the US elections. So what is harm in this? Second is now the Julian Assange clearly says that I was against the Hillary Clinton. You know why? he says Hillary Clinton is warmonger. If she would have been elected, then she would have started a war against the many countries and many lives would have been lost. So that's how Julian Assange says that I have saved a lot of lives by interfering in the US elections. Not he clearly says, indirectly he says like that. And next is two things. Next article now clearly says that what is harm. Actually, that information was correct and authentic. So just US people got to know about that information. So they were in better position to take the decision whom they want to vote. So what is harm in this? And so actually we must thank the WikiLeaks that they did this kind of things. The democracy was more matured in the US elections. So next article is about the e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are very famous these days and you may be aware about that. It is actually the alternative method of consuming the nicotine. Nicotine, it's a chemical found in the tobacco and it is very important for the cigarettes and it becomes addictive when one, you can say that, starts smoking. So nicotine is responsible for that addiction. So now, manufacturers of e-cigarettes, they actually design the e-cigarettes in a way like that it's exactly seems like that real cigarettes, and it actually doesn't contain the tobacco and it also doesn't require a match and it also doesn't has the need to flame at all, you can see that. Actually e-cigarette is a battery powered device and it converts the nicotine which is present in the liquid form there, and battery converts that liquid nicotine into the mist and the vapor, and that's the user or consumer inhales that vapor, and that's how it gives the feel of you can say that smoking the real cigarettes. So there is no fire, no ash and no smoky smell. This was the e-cigarette. So what is the utility? The question may come like that: what are the e-cigarettes and are they dangerous to the human health? In Indian context, what is the policy of government of India regarding the sale of e-cigarettes? So here it is the picture how e-cigarette actually works. Here there's a LED and it shows us whether the e-cigarette is working or not, and microprocessor actually activates the LED, and after that here is nicotine the liquid form, and when the battery is activated, then this liquid nicotine is being converted into mist and smoke that's the user inhales. That's what we discussed before few seconds. So now article starts. So the small name of e-cigarette is electronic nicotine delivery system. It's the most common prototype, and it is said that it is very helpful for those persons who are trying to quit the smoking. But the article says that there is a simultaneously threat from these e-cigarettes also, and there is a lack of concrete evidence that e-cigarettes helps the people who want to quit the smoking. And especially it poses a very danger to the public health, and when there have been lobbying in some sections of our country that the import of e-cigarettes must be enhanced. Actually they do not fall in the ambit of cigarettes and other tobacco products. So when they do not fall in the ambit of cigarettes and tobacco products, so very important law, name of that law is Trade and Commerce Production, Supply and Distribution Act, COTPA. So you have to quote this act whenever the question related to e-cigarette comes. So according to this act, the tobacco products like cigarettes, they have to show on the packet of cigarettes, they have to show some specific area of percentage of warning on the packet of the cigarettes. But these kind of guidelines are not applicable to the e-cigarettes. So that's how the e-commerce websites which sell the e-cigarettes, they violate these rules. And sometimes they do not write the warning in the description box of the e-cigarettes, and sometimes they write at the bottom of the websites, and the people generally ignore and they don't see what has been written at the bottom of the website. Look like this, and website is being ended here and warning is being written here. Who will read this warning? And other dangers, the website also do not tell about the other dangers like products like e-cigarettes, they can explode, and because there have been the cases like this globally, these kind of cases have been reported, and also accidental consumption of the liquid nicotine may result in the death also. That's are the other dangers. You can write these dangers in your answers. What is concerns for India? Currently the e-cigarette market is very unregulated in India, and some states they have banned the e-cigarettes, but there have been sporadic reactions in some states like Maharashtra. They have banned the e-cigarettes. They have said that e-cigarettes are unapproved drugs, And Punjab has banned the e-cigarettes. They have given the reason that they are poison. So if until and unless there is a uniform policy in context to the e-cigarettes, and those the e-commerce websites or any other person who is having the vested interest in the selling of e-cigarettes, they can exploit the loopholes. So there is a need of having the uniform approach whenever the rules are being framed for the e-cigarettes. So there is need of uniform approach. So what is next? What is way forward? So there is a need of imposing the appropriate restrictions on the sale and advertisement of online e-cigarettes. And proper health warning also must be, you can see that, depicted on the packets of e-cigarettes also, and in the description of e-books also, so that people must be aware, because there have been the various studies, because whenever the people read about this kind of warnings, so there is an impact on their mind, and this actually help. Now it has been improved in the report of WHO also. This actually help in reducing the number of smokers. And article further says that there is a need of having the independent scientific research, so that actually we must be aware whether, we must be familiar actually whether the e-cigarettes help in this in quitting the smoking, or just it is illusion. So there is a need of conducting a independent scientific research, so that informed decision can be taken regarding the e-cigarettes. Next article is about the outcome budgeting. This was the article which I forgot. It is the article of Economics Times. So what actually is the outcome budgeting, and how it can be useful for improving the implementation of policies and efficient allocation of resources? The context is that successive governments, many governments came and they have started their own schemes. They have spent a lot of money on these kind of schemes, like you can take the case of Manrega. But actually there was no effort made by those governments to actually evaluate what impact actually those schemes made on the ground, and what is the ground reality. And after that, there was lack of holistic evaluation, and after that in 2005-2006 a outcome budgeting concept came. What was that concept? We can understand or comprehend this by using this case study. A lot of schemes are now these days are being implemented, like sanitation schemes, Swachh Bharat and Nirmal Bharat Gram. In the past also these schemes have been implemented, but there was no effort made in the past that to check actually whether these schemes resulted in augmenting the sanitation, or you can say reducing the disease which were being spread earlier. So these two concepts are being linked. So whenever we implement or we start any kind of scheme, we must also see what is the actual outcome, not output. If we are building the toilets, this is not going to make the impact until and unless we actually consider or evaluate what is the outcome. Whether until and unless we change the behavior, doesn't matter how much toilets you are going to build in the areas, until and unless you change the attitudes of the person, there will be no outcome. So funds must be related to the outcome. This is what article wants to say. And why this effort was not successful, and why the outcome was, how this concept ushered. There was an actual implementation of schemes. This law has to see whether the implementation has been actually implemented on the ground, or just has been implemented on the papers, and why they have not been implemented, and fix the accountability for the lapses. But this experiment was not successful due to the many reasons, because the higher officials or the officials at the ground couldn't understand what was the this concept, and also there was you can see that difficulty in understanding what maybe the outcome, and proper understanding of the outcome was you can see that not there. And after that, one second, this is way forward. So now central government, or we need to install a proper institutional mechanism to assess the quality of scheme implementation. And we also discussed the case of education. We have been spending a lot in the education sector, but still we are lacking in this field, and there is a further need to do a lot of other things, like we have to make our syllabus tailor-made, which must be according to the ground realities. We have to give autonomy to the teachers, so that they can teach the students according to the ground realities. All these kind of things which it is discussed. Giving money is not enough. We have to take other norms also if we want to bring change in the education sector. And next is government also wants to do the distinction of plan and non-plan. It is good thing. Plan means those projects like starting a new infrastructure project, building a school, and non-plan like giving the salaries to the government employees. And government now had decided that we need to go away with the distinction of plan and non-plan. So from this budget, there will be no distinction between the plan expenditure and non-plan expenditure. This was also recommended by the Rangarajan committee. And Rangaram committee also recommended that the budget must be the outcome linked. how much change has been brought in the society by the implementation of the schemes, by the starting of the schemes. It must be, you can see that there on the papers. And also there is a need to bring the holistic and detailed project reports, like what now, how much money would we need to actually start the scheme, and how much money we need in the later stages, so that everything must be on the papers, so that there is no difficulty while implementing the schemes in the future also. So next is utility of next article. It is a water related article. The question may come like that: in the conflict prone areas of water world like Syria, water resources and security is very essential. World community, including the UN, need to be careful about the perils of important water installation falling in the hands of extremists. You have to comment on this. So what is this article about? Actually, the role of water resources are now consistently being highlighted, and there was debate also in the UN related to the security of water, peace and security. And also Ban Ki-moon and his predecessor Kofi Annan, they both argued about securing the water installations and water infrastructures, and how water can be important, which was previously reason of discord between the different countries. Now how it can be important tool for establishing the peace between the different countries. So there is a case study. Why the water infrastructures and why water installations must be protected. You all know that there is conflict going on in the Syria and the Iraq also, and when there was conflict in the Aleppo, IS Islamic State, they captured some dams in the Tisreen, Mosul and Fallujah. And actually you can see that they captured these dams, and due to this a lot of people were not able to drink the water, and the water was not available for the daily activities also. So actually now these kind of dams are not under the control of ISIS, but still they indicated how the security of these water installations or infrastructure can be important for the safety and security of the people. And this threat is not exclusive to the ISIS also. Extremist group in the South Asia, they also threatened to attack the water infrastructure. And also not only these kind of militant organizations, how the states can use the water resources to, you can see that, punish the other countries. It can be major reason for the starting the war also. You can also take the case of India and Pakistan, how Indus Water Treaty has been kind of also reason for the discord between the India and Pakistan. What is the importance of water? What happened? One second. Now water has the same importance as the importance of oil in the 20th century. And but some strategists continuously they are underestimating the importance of water. You know, now the alternatives of oil are available in the form of natural gas, wind energy, solar energy and nuclear energy, but there is no alternative of water still we have been able to invent. And alternative water is water itself. Again, they give the case of Panama Canal. In this canal, there is a 50% trade between the Asia and America, but there have been security crises in the Central America, and if there is any kind of instability in the Central America, then the trade between the Asia and America can be affected. So that's why we need the security of water resources. This is the same. And actually now what they say that whenever there is a conflict and some militant organizations they capture the dams, or there is kind of flood there. So you know what happens? So International Committee of Red Cross, they negotiate the safe passage and they send the technicians there to inspect the repair damage. But actually a lot of time is lost in this activity. So what the article suggests that big powers like Russia and the US, they must ensure that a ceasefire is applied there as soon as possible. This kind of disaster happens there, and so that the technicians can be sent there and repair the damage so that the lives of the people can be saved. So what is way forward? Way forward is that we need to declare water a strategic resource of humanity, and we must adopt a regulation to protect the water resources and installations. And we need to adopt the same policy as we adopted in case of medical facilities in the armed conflict. And you know, we passed a resolution 2286 to protect the medical facilities in the armed conflicts, and we need to pass same kind of resolution in the water context also, so that we need to protect the water installations in the armed conflicts. So today we'll discuss again. So thank you very much for discussion.